You won't believe me when I say this, but a bunch of Catholics recently descended upon a city in Missouri in order to catch a glimpse of a dead nun's corpse. Okay, I'm sure you believe me, but also, what the hell are we doing here? I mean, as a species. Come on. Here's what's happening. The body in question belongs to Sister Wilhelmina Lancaster, who founded the Benedictine Sisters of Mary, Queen of the Apostles, one of my favorite bands, truly. She founded them when she was 70 years old, and she died 4 years ago in 2019 at the age of 95. And if you know anything about dead bodies, it's that they're often embalmed to prevent them from decaying. If someone dies, but maybe the funeral is 2 weeks later, the body may be embalmed in order to disinfect it, preserve it, and restore it so that it's presentable for an open casket funeral. But that was not the case for Lancaster. She was not embalmed. She was also placed inside a coffin that apparently had a crack in it, creating an opening for moisture and dirt to seep in. That's why the expectation was that her corpse was rotting. If you took the coffin out of the ground and opened it up, it would not be a pleasant sight. But also, it shouldn't really matter, since it's 6 feet underground and no one is trying to open up the coffin, right? Well, about that. Recently, members of the Benedictine sisterhood this nun founded decided to move her body to a new and final resting place inside their chapel, as is apparently customary for founders of a Catholic order. The thinking was that her body would be removed and transferred, and no one would see it except the professionals who do this sort of thing for a living. They also expected to find the remains of the nun. I mean, bones, yes, but not much else in presentable form. I mean, this would be true for just about any literal body at that point. You pay your respects to their memories, not their actual decomposing corpse. It turns out, though, that this nun's body was still kind of intact. It was as if she had just died yesterday, even though it had been 4 years. Exhumers found a layer of mold on Lancaster's body, likely due to condensation in the cracked coffin. But little of Lancaster's corpse, or her habit, decomposed while she was buried. That sounds unusual. How unusual? Well, it's kind of hard to say, because it's not like we have a huge sample size. We don't typically unearth bodies a couple weeks after they're buried to check up on them, much less dig them up 4 years later for a scientific comparison. But people expected to see a more decomposed version of Sister Lancaster's corpse. Catholics actually have a word for bodies that do not decompose: incorrupt. It is said to be a sign of holiness and a possible justification for later sainthood, because that would be considered miraculous. 100 bodies have apparently been deemed incorrupt by the Catholic Church in the past. Part of the buzz this time around is that the label could be applied for the first time to a black woman. We think she is the first African American woman to be found incorrupt, because of the possibility that there's something extraordinary happening, that the body may belong to a future saint. Hundreds, if not thousands, of Catholics have flocked to the convent in order to witness what they think is history, and to ask the dead body to intervene in their lives, as one does. That's pretty standard for Catholics, though. I mean, all religious people, really. They love asking dead people or imaginary people to intervene in their affairs, as if those ghosts have nothing better to do in eternity but help you out with that parking spot. For its part, I should say, the Catholic Church has not yet declared this a miracle. The Diocese of Kansas City St. Joseph issued a brief statement saying, "Calm down, you guys, we're still looking into it." Bishop James Johnston is working to establish a thorough process for understanding the nature of the condition of Sister Wilhelmina's remains. Incorruptibility has been verified in the past, but it is very rare. There is a well-established process to pursue the cause for sainthood, but that has not been initiated in this case yet. I can save them some time. There's no miracle. There never is. It's always wishful thinking that fills in the gaps of our own ignorance. My favorite part about this story is that reporters reached out to an expert in forensic anthropology, and his reaction to Sister Lancaster's body was mostly a shrug. One professor told CNN, "There are many famous cases of well-preserved human remains." That professor added, "In general, when we bury a body at our human decomposition facility, we expect it will take about 5 years for the body to become skeletonized. That is, without a coffin or any other container or wrapping surrounding the remains. So for this body, which was buried in a coffin, I personally don't find it too surprising that the remains are relatively well preserved after only 4 years. So decomposition takes about 5 years, and that's with no protection around you. This lady is only 4 years past death, and she was in a coffin, which only means her appearance now is probably not that weird. It's only unusual because, let's face it, we don't really know what bodies look like 4 years after death. We might assume they look like fossils in a museum, but the truth is, a lot of bodies may very well look familiar to the people who knew them. Nana still looks like Nana. It's creepy, but it's probably true. If we really wanted to see if a miracle was at work, we should check back in like 100 years. Before then, though, there's not much to write home about. But that won't stop Catholics from pretending otherwise. They do this anytime there's a purported miracle, whether it's a consecrated communion wafer that creates a red stain as if it's the literal blood of Christ, or a Virgin Mary statue that appears to be shedding real tears, even though when you analyze the liquid, there is always a good explanation. It never matters to believers that there are natural explanations for everything they claim is supernatural phenomena. When reporters spoke to some of the Catholics coming to Missouri, they called it the hand of God at work, and that not many people can say that they touched and prayed over the body of a saint. I mean, that's technically true, because saints are not real. We made them up. But listen, they want hope. That's it. So they assume the outlandish. Yes, it is illogical, and yes, it is unscientific, and yes, it just makes them feel better. It's the reason I think so many people fell for hucksters like Donald Trump, who promised to fix their problems, even though he didn't do anything of the sort, or who sincerely believe that prayer can cure diseases because our healthcare system has let them down, or modern medicine really doesn't have a solution for whatever is ailing them. When you are so desperate for validation, you'll believe any lie people in authority tell you, especially if it is a lie you want to believe. It's nice to feel like there's a higher power in control, even though there is not. I mean, you're lying to yourself when you do that, but I do understand why that's powerful. That said, I have far more compassion for the people flocking to see the dead nun's body than for the Catholic leaders who refuse to set them straight and who lean into the possibility that everyone truly could be witnessing a miracle. We should not expect Catholic leaders to be honest when their entire worldview depends on them spreading lies. I mean, if survey results are any indication, Lancaster's body is one of the only things drawing people into church these days. Why wreck with a business model that is functionally identical to Roswell, New Mexico? Come see the thing that might be supernatural. Who are we to tell you that it's not? Everyone would be better off letting this dead nun rest peacefully and live on only in their memories. They don't need to pretend she's a saint to elevate the work she did when she was alive. In a way, I think what they're doing to her today is disrespectful. It suggests she didn't do enough during her life and that she needs more accolades to be worth remembering. I think it would be far more honorable to bury her body and move on and just live your life in a way that would maybe make her proud. But what do I know? I'm just an atheist who's here to ruin everyone else's good time.